Buenos dias from Haymarket. This is the Rorschach Spain update from the 27th of August, 2026. Quick summary, what's going down in Spain. First up this week, according to various news publications, on Tuesday the 25th, President Pedro Sánchez called a secret emergency meeting with the National Security Council to address the continuing migrant situation in Ceuta following the mass arrival of people in the Spanish enclave in late July. Just in case you missed it last week, tens of thousands crossed into the Spanish enclave illegally after it was announced on social media that the city was open for migrants, largely announced and encouraged by the government of Morocco. Although most have since returned to Morocco, the city remains under pressure, with authorities saying accommodation and support facilities are insufficient. According to the news outlet, the situation has escalated slightly as during the meeting, ministers apparently discussed sending vaccine doses after cases of tuberculosis and scabies were detected. Flip side, the central government's opposition party, Partido Popular, predictably continues to demand that more migration officials be deployed to speed up migrant returns to Morocco. In aviation news, thousands of Airbus workers have resumed strike action after rejecting the company's latest pay and condition offers. Around 90% of eligible workers reportedly joined the strike on Tuesday the 25th, which unions say marks the beginning of an indefinite strike following 22 days of industrial action in July. Workers are demanding inflation-linked pay rises and restoration of previous remote working arrangements and improvements to sick leave benefits. The dispute is affecting Airbus operations across the country, with unions saying military and commercial production has already slowed. The company has also frozen planned hiring the strike. It's Tomatina time, but not so much in the celebratory way it should be. On Wednesday, the 25th, 4 people received medical treatment after being exposed to pepper spray during the La Tomatina festival in Buñol, Valencia, where thousands throw leftover tomatoes in celebration. Witnesses describe scenes of distress, including a young woman seeking help after being sprayed and a man experiencing breathing difficulties. Festival staff also began wearing protective masks to continue working. However, despite the incident, the event largely continued as normal, attracting 20,000 people to the town of Buñol, which has a population of about 9,000. Where did this pepper spray come from? Well, according to news outlet Sur in English, some attendees suggested the spray may have been released from one of the festival trucks to stop people from climbing aboard. However, Buñol Town Hall strongly denies this claim, noticing that the first vehicle near where the substance was detected was a municipal truck. Moving on to energy, the country is preparing to introduce new rules that require newly built big data centers, especially those used for training and running AI, to source at least 80% of their electricity from renewable generation on an hourly basis and meet stricter water efficiency requirements. News was first reported by Europa Press on Wednesday the 26th and would mean that operators need to use and build on-site renewables such as rooftop solar or power purchase agreements. Why is this important? Well, worldwide data centers are becoming more of an issue in terms of climate change and global warming. They use a lot of water and resources to run, so the hope is that by replacing fossil fuels with cleaner power sources, their impact on the environment will be lowered, and they also don't deplete finite non-renewable energy sources like coal. Compliance would be measured hourly rather than annually. Facilities failing to meet the target could face increasing grid surcharges and potentially lose grid access. For those who care about data centers in Spain or in Spanish and want to be one of the cool kids, check out Rorschach.store and our t-shirt that says, Tu nube seca mi río. Your cloud dries up my river, the rallying cry of those in Spain who want fairly built data centers at Rorschach.store. As if the brutal summer heat wasn't enough, severe storms have caused widespread disruption and damage across eastern Spain, particularly in Tarragona and the Balearic Islands. Tuesday the 25th in Tarragona, torrential rain and hail turned streets into rivers, damaged a shopping center roof, and reportedly killed around 100 pigeons at the port. More than 1,000 emergency calls were made, with firefighters responding to flooding, fallen trees, damaged cars, and road closures. Some residents also lost electricity. 3 people were taken to the hospital, though their injuries were minor. Nearby, in Roda de Vera, 11 people were injured during extreme weather, including an 18-year-old woman who was in critical condition when a storefront wall collapsed. A stage at the Vuelta a España cycle tournament was also canceled after cyclists were caught in the hail. Eurovision. Still unclear whether the country will return to Eurovision 2027 after it refused to participate in 2026 because of Israel's entry. To appease the situation somewhat, the European Broadcasting Union has announced this week that it will introduce new rules, including removing hosting rights of winning countries facing armed conflict or sensitive geopolitical situations that could threaten security. However, experts interviewed by news outlet Sur in English say that these changes don't really address the country's main concern, which is that Israel is allowed to participate. Spain wasn't the only country to withdraw from last year's competition. Ireland, Slovenia, and the Netherlands, as well as Iceland, decided not to, which obviously caused huge economic blows for the global music program. Meanwhile, according to a report from news outlet Euronews, the country is emerging as the leading destination for Europe's growing Super September travel trend, as more tourists choose post-summer holidays for sunshine, lower prices, and fewer crowds. Ironically, more tourists choosing these dates will mean September becomes part of the summer boom. Anyway, according to eSky data, Spain accounts for 27.9% of September bookings, well ahead of Greece's 17% and Italy at 10%. Flight prices to Spain at present also fall sharply after the summer peak. From Brussels, September fares to Malaga were 47% lower than July prices. Madrid was 48% cheaper and Asturias 64% cheaper. Beyond beaches and warm weather, the country offers a packed September calendar, including Barcelona's La Mercè Festival and Asturias' American Day celebrations. Another big headline this week was the launch of a murder investigation in Valencia after an Irish couple were found dead inside the jacuzzi of their rented holiday home in the coastal resort of Cullera. The victims, a 50-year-old man and a 45-year-old woman, were discovered by their two teenage children, aged 14 and 16, on Tuesday the 26th. Circumstances of their deaths have prompted Spanish authorities to investigate the possibility of foul play. The couple have been staying at the property in Cullera, popular seaside destination in Valencia, when their children reportedly found them in the jacuzzi. The case has attracted worldwide attention because of the involvement of the couple's children, who were present at the holiday property when the bodies were discovered. Authorities have not yet established publicly how the couple died or identified a suspect. So look to the ocean next. 2 belugas and 4 dolphins from the shuttered Marineland theme park in Niagara Falls, Canada, are being moved to the oceanographic Valencia in Spain. Transfer is the 5th relocation of animals as Marineland works to empty the park, which is up for sale, and has said it can no longer afford to care for its animals. The dolphins, named Echo, Lida, Marina, and Tsunami, are the last captive dolphins in Canada. They're traveling with 2 belugas, Cleopatra and Jellybean. The relocations follow a Canadian government decision to block Marineland's original plan to send the animals to China, citing a 2019 law banning whale and dolphin captivity, breeding, and performances. And finally, you may have heard us talk about Spain's Princess Leonor a few times, and it seems the national media cannot get enough of her. But who is the young queen to be? Teen Vogue wrote a great piece this week about how the 20-year-old eldest daughter of King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia occupies a unique position in the royal succession. She is the crown princess and first in line to the throne, making her the first woman positioned to inherit the Spanish crown since her great-great-great-great-grandmother, Queen Isabella II, who ruled from 1833 to 1868. Leonor was formally confirmed as heir in 2023 after swearing allegiance to the Constitution on her 18th birthday. If Leonor becomes queen, she will be a queen regent, ruling on her own right rather than a queen consort. She's also completing extensive preparation for the role, including military training across the country's Army, Navy, and Air Force. Want to learn more about Spain's monarchy and Princess Leonor? Check out the full article in the show notes. And that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. Anything to ask or tell us, email us at info@rorschach.com. Don't forget Rorschach.store for cool t-shirts. Hasta la próxima.